And was there ever a competition between you two? Because I know you both performed two separate monsters in Godzilla vs. Smog Monster. Is that correct?
Yes, they did.
And was there any competition at the time, knowing that he might play Godzilla next, or was there any?
Hell, I know what the answer to that.
Was there ever any problems with that, or now you're just all friends? It was just
well,
typical.
they're definitely friends.
Yes.
So I'll let them say their own way. Okay. あの子たちにね、ゴリラ対ヘドラであったね。その時にその後で、その二人の中に、競争があった。
ああ、ライバル儀式ね。
そうそうそう、ライバル。
難しいんだよね。ヘドラってのは黙って突っ立ってるだけなんですよね。一つポイントに。で、ゴリラが向かっていってやられたふりしてこうバーンって低くなるでしょ。向こうは動いてないのよ。要するにヘドラが。
そうそうそう。
ヘドラはそのままなの。で、ゴリラが行ってパーンってやって、要するに一人芝居。一人でアクションしないとほら。こっちに動いてないから。
その時に
そのままだからこれがこう動けばね僕もこうなるんだけどそれはそのままだからパーンっていってそしてまたパーンっていってなるでしょ。アクション自分でしても
いつもアクションの
そうそう一人のアクションね。
その時に同じね薩摩さんにどうで初めてでどうでしたか中島さんは監督で。
ゴジラ対ヘドラのヘドラは、大きいね。
そうそう
150キロある。150キロ150キロ
グラム。
いや
重さ大きいからね。ヘドラの中入る。大きい。
You said this is the Hedorah transformation.
動けない。でゴジラが来てこうバーってやって初めてこうなるんだから重くて動けなかった。だから来てるだけが精一杯ね。
精一杯。
というのはほらこの中で演技する芝居。ってこう芝居もできなかった。抱えてるだけでも。
そうです。Okay, an answer in two parts, so three parts for him, but I can't translate that part. Okay, Mr. Nakajima pointed out that for many years he had been essentially the choreographer of every monster fight. He had been handed the choreography of every monster fight since 1962. This was not news to him, and as Mr. Satsuma Sr., he would of course have been given the same rights, unless it was the team just said, of course, Mr. Nakajima, you go and do what you want to, which he acted out, of course. And then Satsuma pointed out, I asked Satsuma what it was like working under Nakajima for the first time, where Nakajima was virtually directing all the action. And Satsuma then acted for you here, that essentially it was a completely, although it was his first monster, in general, he wouldn't have known any better, but looking back he realizes that he could not have done as much with the Hedorah character as he can do with Godzilla, because Hedorah is virtually immobile. It is gigantic. He said it weighed 150 kilograms, which is what, 400 pounds? 400 pounds, let's say. Actually, I think he's exaggerating because there are several different sizes of the suit. I would argue with you about that. So he was just acting it out. He said that Hedorah was a kind of monster that didn't really react, it just sort of moved. Whereas Godzilla was a character that, as Mr. Nakajima was explaining, was a character that reacts and moves all the time. Which takes us way off the subject, but not a bad answer. What's that?
What's their proudest memory of being in the costume?
こちらのスーツの時から一番好きメモリーは何ですか？
スーツが好きなの？
そう。
やっぱりナンバーワン。
でも一番例えばシーンかモメン、センソンかバット。
わかんないな。
ゴジラのだからゴジラ映画で一番好きなシーンとか。そういうこと。
好きなシーン。
あれ。
そのシーンですか？
これはシーンナンバーシーンでしょ？
東宝のテアトロをそう絶対一緒の。His favorite scene that he ever did was where Godzilla bites the clock. I mean, not bites the clock, not the clock. That's what he loved the most. No, bites the Tokyo Tower.
これ？ これは違うよ、西駅の前の電車ですよね。
Oh, the train.
The
train.
train. That
was the train.
日本劇場、東宝。This is Tokyo.
It's kind of tied, I think,
Toho.
between eating the train
Kanpai.
and between the part where the Toho Theater gets smashed. They like that. Satsuma-san.
初めてゴジラをやった映画が1984年のニューゴジラでしょ、印象に残るのはニューゴジラだけど、シーンでね一番好きなシーンはねやっぱゴジラプリスビオランテの足の湖の中でゴジラがこう暴れてるのがゴジラ対ビオランテ足の湖の中で格闘してるね、あのシーンがなかなかいい、
And Mr. Satsuma's favorite moment is the battle with the giant lake in Godzilla vs. Biollante. Godzilla vs. the Biollante Rose. That's his personal favorite of the ones he did. Yes, sir.
Which was the most difficult to produce, as far as it being difficult to do?
一番難しいはどっち？
難しいのは一人芝居が一番難しいね。例えばヘドラね。それからなんだ動かないなキングギドラ。あれもただ入ってただ首が上でこうつってるわけでしょ、キングギドラ。だから体が全然動いてない。それにアクションをこうやってぶつけていってパンまたパンで一人でアクターになってるわけね、アクション。
Right, right. Okay, his biggest problem was fighting monsters who were only expressed on wires, like the smog monster is the first one he mentioned, and then when King Ghidorah was only on wires, he said that he had a hard time being the only actor who was fighting. If there was something on wires that he didn't know really how to deal with, didn't know what it was going to do, that really bothered him.
一番楽なのはキングコング対ゴジラね。その場合はアクション脱いで、でアクションをこうつけるわけでしょ。僕はつけるわけ。ね。それでこうやってそれからかぶって本番用意したでパーンこれが一番楽。
Something like King Kong vs. Godzilla was a lot easier because you could talk to the guy face to face and then they'd be fighting face to face. It was as simple as that.
You mentioned to us in Tokyo that the octopus sequence was also difficult because it doesn't move and he has to supply all the...
In which film?
King Kong.
But he didn't
That,
in that scene.
Odako.
But he wasn't in that scene.
Gargantuan.
Sanda Taikaira.
サンダータイガイラのタッコのシーンは同じね。ガイラ対タッコのシーンはちょっと同じみたいか。
ガイラ対ガイガンでしょ。
サンダータイガイラの中にガイラのスーツに入ってます。オープニングシーンに大タッコとプロレス。
ほら大事が出たりなんだそうでしょ。あれはただ一本のこうなって。それを首に巻いていかにもこうやられるこれと同じ。
You mentioned that he picked the green gargantuan and has more screen time.
こうだろ
帽子は不活ね。
そうそう
アクションがねやっぱり相手がいると一番楽ね。ただししんどいね。苦しい。ワンカットそうね 100m ダッシュで走ってるぐらい終わった後ね。カットしたらねワンカットです。
Okay. We reminded of the octopus scene in War of the Gargantuas, which he acted out for us in part. Which he was saying, well, the tough thing there was a bit like Bela Lugosi and Ed Wood. Just like he said, oh, that one I had to wrap the tentacles around me to make it look like it was killing me. And then he took it out on this. And then, and then he just said that. And then he said that, having said all that, probably the hardest thing besides working with inanimate objects was the things where he had to do a lot in one take. Just after one take, he said that after that he'd be like panting after a 100-meter dash. And that would be difficult, doing one long take like that. He didn't have to do that very often.